What's going on, guys? Long time no see. We're getting closer, though. We're getting closer to you guys never seeing the end of me. So I guess if you've been wanting some more Zillion content, here it is. And then the good news is more will be coming as we go here the next few months. I'm gonna start ramping it up as we're getting a lot closer to Alpha 2, obviously. So this video today, I just happened to watch a Narc video today that he did about Ashes of Creation potentially suffering from the same fate of New World, and I wanted to do a response video to that because he posed a question in that video that I think I have a good answer for. And as usual with me, this is a response video, not a reaction video, which means we're not going to watch the video here inside of this video. I will link it down below, and I will highly suggest you go watch it. It is a good video. But for the laziest among you who are not going to go watch that video, here is a very brief recap. The general crux of his video is that New World is a pig, and it doesn't matter how much lipstick you put on the pig, it's still a pig, because what you started with was a pig. That's basically what he's getting at. And he brings up a point from the Cleric live stream, the last Cleric live stream that they did, where they went through one of the story arcs, and there were like 4 or 5 things that they had to interact with to move the story arc forward, and all of those things are static items that are kind of in the place that they are. And so if you combine that with the modern Zerg mentality that exist in some form or another in virtually every MMO. I was sitting here thinking about it, and I'm like, WoW has this, ESO has this, New World is big on it. I'm not sure about Final Fantasy 14. I know Guild Wars 2 has a version of this, which is where people have figured out some route or something that you can do that will get everybody rewards, and so people just group up in massive, they don't even join a group. They just run together, and everybody clicks on the chest, or everybody gets a hit on the world boss, or whatever it is, and then everyone, gets their rewards or whatever, and it kind of trivializes the game. And he's asking the question, what is Ashes of Creation going to do to stop that, especially considering that we already know from the early looks at the story arc system that there's going to be certain places that you're going to go. So essentially you could do the same thing, have a big group, run into that area, which is not designed for massive groups, and just trivialize all the combat, and then everybody clicks on the little thing, you get your rewards, and everybody's happy. And it's a really good point. That style of gameplay is actually a result of a change that was made in MMOs a long time ago that I didn't even really think about it like this way until this problem was presented to me by Narc. And so Narc, I do want to say right now, man, good on you for still out there putting out compelling content when we're in kind of this dry period with Ashes where we're all kind of just waiting for the Alpha 2. So yeah, big respect for the fact that you can still find compelling content to put out there. So like I said, this video got me thinking a lot about how Ashes of Creation can stop this, because obviously that's a problem. Like if that happens, then there is nothing about Ashes of Creation that separates it from really anything. If we're just going to trivialize all the content by putting together groups that are way bigger than are designed for the content and just do it with no thought, no strategy, and everybody gets all their gear and gears up in 2 weeks or whatever, and then goes on to what other MMO and just waits for an Ashes of Creation update, like people do. I swear there are people who have like a rotation, and they just rotate between like 6 MMOs, and every time they have a new update, they just go to that one for a couple months and wait for the next one to have a new update, and that's their life. They don't actually main an MMO, they main like 6 of them. I swear that's a thing that people are doing these days. So what is this thing that changed that made this happen in all of these MMOs and has become so prevalent in MMOs? It's personalized loot. Or if you're not sure exactly what that means, it means that if I kill something, I'm going to get, between 1 and 5 pieces of leather, something off of a random loot table, and between 10 and 17 gold. And if me and another guy kill the same thing together, like we both get a hit on it, even if we're not in the same group, we're both going to get exactly the same thing. Exactly what I just mentioned. So it's not like, you take that 10 and 17 gold and split it between the two of us. No, each of us are going to get our own version of between 10 and 17 gold. Each of us are going to get our random item from this specific loot table. Each of us are going to get, you know, the leather or the cloth or whatever else this thing is dropping, antlers, you know, pelts, whatever it is. And that has become a thing in MMOs. It's a solution to the tagging, especially for questing, where people will come along and they're all trying to get a quest done, and since everybody's working on the same quest at the same time, you're having to wait or hope or fight or try to be the first one to get a shot on something so that it'll be tagged for you so that you're the one that gets the loot. And so these MMOs said, okay, well, let's just make it where everybody who gets a shot on it gets the loot, and that solves this problem. But as is usually the case when people try to solve problems, you know, a lot of times it will solve the problem that they're trying to solve, but then it makes the problem worse in other areas, or comes up with a different problem, or, you know, whatever. And this one is a different problem, which is a further degradation of the community aspect of MMOs. Because if you think about world bosses, if you were around in the, you know, 2000 to 2008, maybe 10 range, back then, the way world bosses died was someone decided, let's kill a world boss. They got, you know, 6 or 8 of their friends or whatever, if they had them, and then they started promoting that they were looking to kill the world boss on one chat or another. They would get enough people to go kill the world boss. Everybody who joined the world boss fight would understand what the loot rules were going to be. Then the group would go out, they'd kill the world boss would drop whatever number of pieces of loot it's supposed to drop, you know, 4 or 6 or something like that. And then that loot would be, you know, usually there'd be a master looter and they would do rolls, or there'd be some type of a DKP system or whatever they did for the distribution of loot. And now the way world bosses are killed is people wait around by the world boss for it to spawn. As soon as it spawns, there's way more than enough people there to kill the world boss. Everybody gets a shot on it because they're all dropping AoEs and stuff. Everybody gets the same loot or from the same loot table. And so instead of just a few people getting it, everybody gets it. And you just do that repeatedly. No one talks to each other. There's no communication. There's no building of groups. There's no building of bonds. There's no friendship making, none of that stuff. It's a single player game that other people happen to be in the same world as you. And it's not, at least it doesn't hold up to the traditional standards and spirit of the MMO being this online social game. Ashes of Creation does not have that. It's been reported several different times. Steven has said it in different ways. I don't think he's ever specifically said we will not have personalized loot, but when asked about how looting is going to work, he mentioned master looter, which means it's not going to be everybody gets the same loot or from the same loot table. It's going to drop a certain number of items, and those items are going to be auctioned off in whatever way the group chooses to auction those items off. So that is a massive change to the game in a different direction, going back in the old direction of the way things used to be. So the same thing with world events. You show up at a world event, you get 1 or 2 hits in. At the very end, you're not going to get very much loot. So it's going to be the same thing with these story arcs and caravan defenses and all of these different things. You're going to have to actually participate, and then the loot is not going to just be guaranteed to you. In New World right now, you wouldn't have 75 or 100 people following each other in a train, like going from safe location to safe location to safe location to open these chests. If after the first person who opened the chest, it was gone, it disappeared and reappeared in another spot somewhere else down the road, especially if it was a random location. You wouldn't have that because there'd be no point in following each other. You'd actually be trying to beat people to the other locations. It would change the way that it was going on entirely if that was done that way. And there are many other examples of this. World of Warcraft has it. ESO has it. ESO has world bosses all over the place that you can go fight, that you just wait for other people to show up. When they show up, they're already attacking it. Whenever you jump in, you get a couple hits too. Boom, you get your piece of gear. And so that it really trivializes a whole lot of the game. And Narc has a great point here about them really messing up and destroying what should be a revolution in the MMO space in this game. Could be relegated to the dustbin of history. It could be the next New World or the next Throne and Liberty, or okay, it's not going to be as bad as Throne and Liberty. Let's be honest here, but you know, it could be one of those games that kind of gets forgotten, or just becomes a game that people log in, you know, put it in their rotation. Every time there's an update, I'll play, and when there's not, I won't. And by making this change of non-personalized loot, they're going more towards the direction, and there are many other aspects of Ashes of Creation that are also going in this direction, which are going to make this game be a game that is your main game for a long period of time, and you're excited about logging in every day because there are new things happening. There's new gear to chase because you didn't just get it automatically yesterday when you killed the world boss. You might need to kill it 15 more times before the roll comes up in your favor. And during that time, who knows how many people you're going to meet and how many connections you're going to make, and the reputation that you're going to establish within the world as a whole, but more specifically in your region, around your node or around your grouping of nodes, the reputation that you will establish over that time, and then what you'll be able to use that reputation to accomplish later. And that is the promise of Ashes of Creation, and personalized loot is just one more thing that's pushing us toward that promise. That's all I really have for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.